Um, so I'd like to, by way of introduction, I want to say that Dzongtse Khyentse Rinpoche told us older students of Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche, he instructed us quite strongly to make sure that the Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche's legacy was perpetuated. But we're all getting old, and we can't do it alone. And that's really my introduction to Harry Einhorn, because we absolutely depend on the next generation of teachers. Harry was born into a Buddhist family, into a Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche family, and has been practicing and studying the Dharma his whole life, since childhood, actually. He's now in the 10-year intensive Melinda teacher training program, which is a Shedra. He's completing that. Um, and he's also been very active in Buddhist education for children. He's also coordinating Dharma art programs and has done some tremendously creative work in bringing the Dharma into music, art, theater. So we're absolutely dependent on the Harrys of this world to actually do the job that we old fogies can no longer do. So Harry is going to take us further on the discussion of the path. Today is a very special day. It's Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche's anniversary. So we will not be having breakout groups today. Instead, Harry's father, Ken Einhorn, whom we met back in January. He taught the fourth of our classes. He's an old television news producer, and he will be the master of ceremony for our Parinirvana Day celebration for the last half hour of our session today. So Ken and Harry are going to do a dog and pony show today, and father and son team. And I want to just say one more word that the next 2 weeks also, I need to say something, are very special because for the next 2 weeks, we will be taught by Judy Leaf, who is one of Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche's oldest and very closest students. She, in fact, is the editor of both of the core texts that we have been using. Um, she's been the head of practice and study for Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche's seminaries. Her list of credentials is so long I can't even begin. But she's also a superb teacher who really embodies what she teaches. So these next 2 weeks also will be very special. So I'm really pleased to turn it over to Harry.
Thank you, Tashi, and hello, everybody. So we did get started a little later. We'll still start with some sitting, but Carolyn, maybe we can do 3 minutes of sitting.
Okay.
And just reminding us all to settle into our bodies and to follow the out breath as it goes out. At the end of the out breath, can simply rest. And as thoughts come and go, just notice them, label them thinking, and return to the out breath.
Okay. Can we start?
Yes.
lama
Harry, you're muted.
The topic today is going to be a little bit about the path, and followed by an introduction to vipashyana. So when we say the path, sometimes we might think that it's like a very nicely laid out cobblestone, or something very manicured where you can just follow it step by step and easily get to your destination. But Trungpa Rinpoche explains the path more as like you're about to go on an expedition or an adventure into the wild. And so you're given a how-to kit or survival guide with everything that you need, but still it's really up to you to make it out to the other side. So there are guidelines, but how you apply them, in what context you apply them, that's up to our own intelligence. The path progresses as a sense of undoing our confusion. The first big confusion we need to undo is our sense of eternity, or our belief that things last. So that aspect is undone by impermanence, realizing that everything is changing. That's the first aspect of the path. The next obstacle to us seeing clearly is our search for pleasure, thinking that external circumstances are going to be satisfying. But because they're impermanent, because their nature is change, actually they're inherently dissatisfactory. So the second stage of the path is realizing dukkha, or dissatisfactoriness. Once we've developed a sense of impermanence and also a sense of dissatisfactoriness, things kind of empty out. Things aren't so solid anymore. And it's here that we begin to discover emptiness, which is the third aspect of the path. And finally, we have to let go of the idea that there's somebody who has had all these realizations, that is just existing in space, and that there's no center. And that's egolessness. So in a very broad way, we can experience progression along the path as gaining insight into impermanence, then dissatisfactoriness, then emptiness, then egolessness. The path is also said to have certain qualities. One of them is that it is a path. It's a process. And really what it is a process of rediscovering our Buddha nature. The second quality of the path is insight, which is connected to clarity. And especially at the beginning, This means seeing our neuroses and our confusion clearly. The third aspect of the path is that it's a path of practice. And essentially, what we're practicing is being able to just be. The fourth aspect or quality of the path is fruition, which means there is a result. And that result could be the permanent extinction of our confusion. And why is this possible? Because an extinction of confusion means you're just being with the truth. So that brings us to the main topic today, which is vipashyana, which also represents a form of progression or development in our meditation practice. There are two kinds of vipashyana. So far, we've been practicing shamatha, many of us, which relates to developing a calm and peaceful mind. Vipashyana is related to insight. And in general, we can develop insight through analysis, through asking ourselves and the world questions. We also develop insight in lineage. We emphasize the experience. So shamatha is good, but there's a little bit of an issue with shamatha is it's possible to get too attached to the sense of peace that develops. Shamatha can be a little bit goody-goody or a little bit moralistic. So it's said that within the pond of shamatha, we need to let the flower of vipassana bloom. So essentially what this is pointing to is once we've developed some calmness and stability, then it's time to expand and extend ourselves. And rather than simply quieting the mind, we can also touch into the sharpness and the clarity of our perception, which is also related to a process of further opening. In contemplative vipassana, we ask a lot of questions, but we're very suspicious if you come to any kind of conclusion. You kind of ask and ask and ask until you're completely out in the middle of space. And that seems to be the approach of Buddhist philosophy, which can be very confusing and sometimes not that fun. But in vipassana, experiential vipassana, we also kind of do the same thing. It has to do with a leap out into space. And the condition for us to be able to do this is developing a ground of gentleness and non-aggression through our shamatha practice. So once we're able to slow down, then we're ready. Vipassana is very related to the gap, which I believe has been mentioned in previous classes. And even if we're not perceiving the gap is happening all the time. And in fact, our whole world and our whole self-perception, which seems so solid and seems so real, is constantly infused with gap. And that's why Vipassana is possible. So what do we actually do? So here's the instruction in Vipassana for our meditation practice. Actually, nothing is really changed about the technique. We're still working with the out-breath. The eyes are still open. But as you're sitting there, you might experience a sudden flash of awareness where everything opens out. This could come suddenly, or it could happen through a sudden effort on our part. We just open out. Then the instruction is to let it go, leave it alone. Disown it. So we flash, open out into space, and then relax. In shamatha, you would come back to your breath and bring yourself back. With vipassana, you bring yourself back, but not all the way, only about halfway. You can stick with the breathing, but there's more space. There's more air. We become a little bit less religious about sticking with the breath. So we begin to touch into a sense of totality. That it's not just us sitting there and breathing very seriously, but there's a whole atmosphere around us. At the beginning, when you start to do this, you might actually feel guilty, like you're not even meditating. But that's okay. Actually, what's happening is you're opening out. So you flash, disown, rest in space. And very gently come back to the breath. So this is really a stage of letting go. And it turns out that every stage of practice is a further letting go. So there's a certain kind of seriousness that comes with mindfulness. In Vipassana, we're open to and welcoming of awareness, which has a lightness to it. And because of all that space, there's also a sense of humor. And I thought it was funny that we started with Tashi's echo, because Trungpa Rinpoche talks about our awareness coming to us like an echo. It just comes. But we can't hang on to it. So within this greater space, we can relax and be a little bit less egocentric. And also all of our preferences, all of our I like this, I don't like that, seeing it within a greater space. We kind of see the humor in all of it. So Vipassana is also very much related to the post-meditation experience when you get up off the cushion and go about your life with a sense of expansiveness and space. So when we do that, it doesn't matter if you're living in a peaceful place or a big busy city. Actually, a big city can be a field for your vipassana. It's constant vipassana happening all the time. So we maintain our shamatha practice of becoming one-pointed and steady, and we add a sense of a larger scale. So it's not like the vipassana replaces the discipline of shamatha. They work together. So there's something that Trungpa Rinpoche says here, which is about enjoying the gap. And also I've heard Songsar Khyentse Rinpoche saying something about, you don't really have to understand it, but it's helpful if you like it. You just like it. You like the gap. But don't analyze the gap. Just have your gap and then leave it alone. Because what we tend to do is we'll have a gap and then we'll say, oh, I had a gap. And then no more gap. But that's fine. Just notice it, leave it alone. Arguably, being excited that you had a gap that's a really good sign. So you don't need to get too serious about that. But the point is that the vipassana of the spaciousness of awareness that we begin to experience on the cushion can begin to bleed out into our everyday life, which very much includes our ordinary, everyday situations. The dishes, the laundry, the groceries, your scheduling, bills. So all of these are fields now to not just practice mindfulness, but to see the space around all of it. You flash, then just let it go. Don't worry, it will come back. Actually, if you try to hang on to it, that's the best way to chase it away. When we begin to do this, we begin to discover the sacredness of our actions. And it's not sacred because they've been blessed by some kind of external deity. But nonetheless, a sense of sacredness and appreciation develops as we go about our lives with an expanded awareness while continuing on with the training of shamatha. And as we do this, our preferences, likes and dislikes, they become less solid. So what actually begins to happen is we're making less karma as we go about our daily lives. Things become less sticky. Vipassana also is related to an appreciation of movement and interactions. And this is a bridge into art or artfulness. So as we expand our awareness, we begin to discover all of these possibilities. Because we have trained in shamatha, when we expand into vipassana, there's a deep appreciation of our world because we can clearly see the uniqueness and freshness of every moment. So when we can do this and begin to drop our aggression, both towards ourselves and to the world, we begin to become artists in the sense of we're participating in the creation of our life because we're actually here for it. And it should be said that Trungpa Rinpoche relates aggression to a sense of speed. And I think this is especially important now with all of the digital tools available to us, which are all about speed. to remember that we can also slow down. Give ourselves more space. So when we do this, we can become more inspired by our life. And our daily activities. We can become extremely skillful and sensitive and powerful. And so in this way, we begin to become like a bodhisattva. So everything is workable. So we continue that dance of precision, gentleness, expansiveness, space, and then letting go. Just relax. So I think if anyone has any questions, we could have some discussion.
Hi guys, you can raise your hands if you have any questions. Or you can also write on the chat. We can read it here. Ina?
Hi. Um, Thanks for this talk. Actually, it was quite, I don't know, landing in a very right place. I would say I wanted to ask one thing that you said, like it's really helpful when you like it. And what if you don't like it? Like, is it necessary to like it?
I would say it's helpful to find some aspect of it that you like. Like,
Mm.
sometimes, because there is a part of sitting that can actually just feel good.
Yeah,
And,
is
uh, or relaxation, it's kind of like, like getting in the shower and then stepping out and feeling fresh and clean. Like on that level, we kind of like that, even though if it's like a pain in the ass, you don't want to get wet. But like after you're done and you feel kind of lighter, and that's why it's not like, oh, I love it. Like I love showering and then feeling so fresh and clean, but it's more just like, ah.
Mm.
So I think it is helpful. Otherwise the whole thing becomes a chore and then it's much harder to it's much harder to expand and relax because then it's not natural. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for these teachings. Um, I really appreciated your explaining Vipassana and the two different ways of doing it. Could you speak a little bit more about if you're a Dzogchen practitioner, how is that gap compared to Dzogchen practice or what you're describing?
Uh, uh, I'm not really qualified to give instructions on that, except all I could say, just being in a general audience, is that, if there's no distinction. You know what to
It
do.
feels
Yeah,
it feels the same.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Hi, Sophie. You can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Harry. I enjoy your teaching. Wonderful, like a meditation process. You mentioned that Vipassana is like a flower blooming in the pond of shamatha. If shamatha provides us with precision and stability, while Vipassana invites us to leap into space and disown our realizations. So my question is, how can we balance this precision in details with spacious awareness in our messy post-meditation life, such as doing dishes or working without falling into the trap of being too serious or getting attached to the peacefulness of the practice? That's my question.
Actually, that's really you can't give a one size fits all answer for that, because some people are too tight and some people are too loose. So it's like I'm like a too loose person. So you would say to someone like that, like, actually you need a little bit more mindfulness. But if you're too tight, I would say try to do something silly and pointless every once in a while, but don't make it into a big deal. Like, or like try going out dancing, or yeah, just yeah, maybe just try to do something kind of goofy. Uh, The thing is that you don't stop your shamatha. You keep the shamatha continues. Um, but yeah, go see a movie or have a drink or put on a silly hat. That kind of thing can help.
Thank you very much for your advice. I'll try.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hi, Ila. You can ask your question.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
First, thank you so much, Harry. It was really wonderful what you teach us. I mean, I read the text before, and I really appreciated how you brought this to us today. But why I'm lifting my hand is because I want to get the chance to say that I saw you in the movie. What is the lama doing with a gun?
Uh-huh.
And I really appreciated your role in it. And for me now, after all this, I thought this was Vipassana in action. Because while I was watching that movie, I was wondering how you, in your role, even and as a person, you could be so relaxed. And so, and so in yourself with all what happened, I don't know, I think maybe a lot of people saw this movie, but how you could be in this role and stay in this, like always be so, not aggressive, not anything. You've been always surprised, and then you took it as it was. So I just want to say this. This is for me. This is like Vipassana in action, and I also want to thank you for this, Harry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Maybe I can answer just quickly some of the messages.
Yes, I can read the question in the chat.
Sure.
Actually,
Sure.
there's one from Ines in the chat. Maybe you want to ask it here, Ines. Let me.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you first, Harry, for the teaching. So I wrote my question on the chat, but I can maybe say it loudly. Maybe that would be better. So you spoke about the flash and the gap. Can you please talk a little bit more about it exactly and how to have them, and also how to add the sense of expansiveness to our shamatha practice? How to go basically from shamatha to vipassana? Because from what I understand from you is vipassana, it's insight meditation, but also it's opening to the wide space. Um, so how can we bring that sense of expansiveness and relaxations and this wide awareness? So these are like questions.
Are you practicing with your eyes open and working with the out breath?
Yes, I'm a Dzogchen practitioner, and by the way, I'm very. I agree with Barbara that it's very similar to the Dzogchen practice, but I'd like to clarify these point. It will actually help me actually dive deeper into my own practice. So opening up to the expansiveness of awareness. Yeah.
I think actually it could be a little bit of a similar answer, like maybe go out dancing.
Okay.
Or another thing you could do is are there mountains where you live?
Yes.
Yeah, so go and climb a mountain and get tired, and then once you get to the top, just sit and look out.
And just be in silence.
Yeah, just
Aware.
yeah,
You're in
yeah,
silence.
yeah. And in terms of your formal practice, it's when you're going out with the breath, you go out. And then at the end of that breath, you just rest. So sometimes a flash of awareness just happens, and sometimes you can flash. But the main point is the disowning.
So what do you mean exactly by flash of awareness?
It means you just kind of open out. It's like a mix of relaxation and maybe there's a greater sense of space.
Okay. And disowning meaning letting it arise and not grasping, just letting.
Don't make it special. It's like if you are chewing gum and then you spit it out, you don't put it back in your mouth.
Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome.
I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
We have a question from the Chinese Sangha that came from the chat.
Hmm.
When you're training with your breath, is it better to use a timer or not?
Better use a timer because then that takes away the kind of like, oh, am I done? Have I sat long enough? I don't know. It's just if you use a timer, then you've just taken that decision point away, and then you can just sit there.
And we have a few more questions from the chat. So let me see. There's one um, Ghazala Lila.
Hmm.
Will you please say a little more about flash as part of the technique of Vipassana?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't want to say too much, but I think I've kind of yeah. It's more important to maybe relax and don't worry about it so much. Yeah. I want to talk about Pema Dorje's question quickly.
Okay. Do you want me to read?
Yeah.
You mentioned we should be having less aggression towards ourselves and others, but I feel like my aggression has increased tremendously since I arrived in Bodh Gaya.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I've also had that experience, especially in Bodh Gaya. And actually, that could be a sign of greater clarity, so don't worry about it. You can also offer that. So the point is, it's not so much that you're not having aggression, it's more like don't hang on to the aggression, disown it. And it'll come back, but then, you can offer it. When you offer, that's a way of disowning or not identifying with it so much, but that will happen, and that's actually not a bad sign. You're having more clarity.
Thank you, Harry. Now, maybe Lila, would you like to ask your question? You can unmute yourself.
Hi there. Thanks, Harry. This is Leela from Seattle, and I really appreciate the path as an undoing of confusion. It's a beautiful way to state it. I'm wondering if you can address. So I've done Goenka Vipassana, and it has been extremely beneficial. I'm just wondering if you can talk about the body aspect of the technique and also how to work with the intensity that comes to the body. And also when I don't know if it's called a gap, but having those experiences where there is no real reference point and then coming back because of outside things, but not trying to hold on to it, but actually because it's so intense, how to work with kind of not trying to avoid it a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done a Goenka retreat, but I know about the technique, and I've worked with people who have practiced Goenka. And I would say, I will say, and I want to acknowledge that people that do a lot of Goenka style Vipassana, which if some of you, it's actually, that style is, I believe it's a closed eyes and a very inward focus on the body. Is that right, Leela? Is that accurate?
But
Yeah.
you can also do it with your eyes open. You can't do it there
Okay.
with your eyes open.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
So it's almost the opposite. And what I want to say is that different meditation techniques are like, it's like you have a really nice green tea and then you have a really nice gourmet coffee. And the really nice green tea is going to take you somewhere, and the gourmet coffee, it's going to take you somewhere. But if you have the two, especially if you're just starting to get to know them, you don't necessarily want to mix them, because you're going to lose the qualities of the green tea and you're going to lose the qualities of the gourmet coffee. So they're both good, but you can kind of maintain their integrity because they both come from a lineage. So that's the first thing I want to say. When people begin to practice this open technique, a lot of the time you might feel like you're going backwards. And that has to do with basically clarity. So the question was specifically about the body. I would say touch and go. Just remembering gentleness. Being soft.
Okay. I'm just thinking, the way that I've practiced Vipassana being body-centric and also just analytical.
I see.
Right? Analytical to the point where the mind just kind of pops out. And I've also practiced the Zen koan, which is kind of nice. That also has that. But I feel like because of starting out with the body-centric Vipassana, that the body does have a signature state, if I can say it that way. And I've also practiced Mahamudra. So, and because the body is involved in all of these different techniques, the intensity of it, like being beside oneself, or, the body doing its own thing in a way, I guess, energetically. And I'm sure all of these experiences are definitely, and luckily, from the blessings of the teachers, no doubt. So just how does one work with the intensity and, the body just being so intense? And you're still holding shamatha, of course, because otherwise it wouldn't be possible. So any insight on that would be great. And also just I'm bringing it up more so that when other people have these experiences that, like I did at first, trying to avoid them, right? Because it's just overpowering in a way. So thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a really big topic, and I actually kind of have a lot of thoughts on this. I'm gonna answer it probably quicker than what is needed, and this is just my opinion. But so, okay, from the purely the perspective of this technique of shamatha vipassana, is that the bodily sensations are actually, they're really not regarded as a big deal. So they're actually considered to be thought in the terms of we're experiencing everything as a mental event. And so again, the instruction is touch and go. So you acknowledge what's happening with the body, and then you go out with the out breath. And it's more of an emphasis on a going out rather than re-centralizing on the body and its experiences. So that's the perspective of this practice. However, as somebody who personally has very deeply benefited from somatic therapy and knowing about how, trauma and emotional states and everything are stored in the body, those practices can be very, very important and a really, really good support for the meditation practice. Now, I'm not sure if you were getting at this, but I would say that this kind of meditation it's not therapeutic in the way that we think of what like somatic therapy can do. It does work on a very deep level, and you could say that there is a healing. However, if very, very strong emotional states related to potentially very difficult past experiences keep arising, it's important to basically go to another type of professional for that. I'm not sure exactly if that's what you were
Thank
asking,
you.
but yeah, in
Thanks
terms of
for offering that aspect. Actually, I think it's very important. But I was actually thinking of, it's not an emotional, the emotional aspect is completely out of that situation, but mainly like bliss that's painful, that's beyond bliss, beyond pain. So,
Oh, okay, I'll give you a very clear answer. Not a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
It's
you want
just so
some
intense
perspective.
that it's that whole thing of like the body being taken over. So that's the thing. But yeah, exactly. Not a
Same
big
answer.
deal. I like that answer.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Harry.
Yep.
Julia, would you like to ask your question?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get rid of my own self view here.
Yeah, right. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Thanks. Um, uh, so that was fantastic. I was with you like every word. And my question is about, well, confusion. And I practice 20 minutes a day no matter what. First thing in the morning, much better. But if it's late at night and I haven't done it, I insist upon doing it. and I can be, the density is just amazing. Is it worth it to keep the vow of sitting on that cushion and it's 11 o'clock at night and it's just sludge? How to work with sludge, how to work with like when situations internally are not optimum, it's so dense that the shamatha is very, very difficult, let alone any kind of opening out or flashing of clarity. How do you work with when it's thick is my question.
Have you received the instruction of fresh start?
I think so, back in Shambhala, back in the day, but it's been a
Yeah,
while
it's
since
kind
I've
of
looked
like
at it.
if it's feeling really, really dense, it doesn't just stop. And it doesn't mean get up off of your cushion, but just drop the whole thing. Just just sit there for a little bit and then start again. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So many different weather systems inside can be heavy fog.
Oh, it's
And
crazy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah.
Harry, we have around 7 questions in the chat. How many do you think we can take?
Well, I mean, it's as long as if people can stay 15 minutes later, then maybe we can do 7 more minutes because we started.
Okay.
Is that, yeah.
Okay. So this question is from Emma. What do you mean by offering? Like in Tonglen?
It means basically it's more like disowning, letting go. But also when you say offering, you're also acknowledging that there is some value in your experience.
And there's one from Lawrence. Both the teachings and the master-disciple relationship seem more and more like a game to me, or like a performance. I have an increasing sense that the ultimate truth cannot be attained through ordinary practice, that no matter how much we progress or how enlightened we become, we only ever reach a more sophisticated illusion. Even so, the Guru's grace is an ocean. I don't know what else I could possibly rely on. Well, I don't know if it's a question, but
Yeah, I mean it's definitely all a game, but I mean you have to do something.
And then we have one from Turge. When it comes to the spaciousness, is the root doing something unfamiliar? Putting yourself to a situation, place you are not used to break through the monotony of the things you are familiar with?
I mean that's really it's just hard because there's 270 of you online and then I don't know how many are watching. It's that's really going to be like an individual kind of thing. I would say it kind of depends. If you're a too tight kind of person, then maybe what you need is to mix it up a little bit. But if you're a too loose kind of person, maybe what you need is a little bit more discipline to experience that spaciousness. So I would say being bored is important, but it's also important not to get too serious. If we're too serious about the whole thing, that actually is going to be an obstacle to Vipassana arising.
Thank you. And then we have one from Stephen. How could one convince someone young, teenager, of the workability without suggesting making things better, improvement? How can one bring this experience of it without fabricating, forcing something? Any simple idea?
With a teenager,
Yeah, a teenager.
not possible. I think, I mean, I totally rejected all of this as a teenager. I think you just got to let teens be teens and then just have it be available and basically like yeah, available and something about it that is enjoyable. I mean, what I would say is that Buddhism is actually the most rebellious thing that someone could do, but if it's your parents telling you that and you're a teenager, at least in the West, you're not going to listen. So, yeah.
Okay. And then one from Eli. When more space is arising, you said that appreciation of movement and interaction is enhanced. This would be like a bridge into art, into the creation of our life. Would you please talk more about this bridge into art, since you yourself seem to be active in the arts?
Yeah, I think humans have we all have a lot of potential, and we're all quite talented. Look at how talented we are at maintaining our egos. So if some of that energy is freed up, because it takes a lot of energy to maintain our territory, maintain our ego. And yeah, if some of that is freed up, you might be surprised at what you can do. You know, that being said, there is also a shamatha element to the arts, which is there's the discipline of training in a certain medium, which Trungpa Rinpoche also emphasized was very important. So you still need both.
Thank you. And then we have one from Lin, from our Chinese Sangha. Is that moment of holding the breath and resting for a split second between each inhalation and exhalation the gap?
Did she say holding the breath?
Yeah, the moment of holding the breath and resting for a split second between in breath and out breath.
Don't hold. Don't hold. Feng sha. Let it go. Yeah. 不用 die. You don't need to carry anything. You don't hold the breath. This is not pranayama. This is no kind of special breath. Just keep your special breath. Or just keep your natural breath. So it's not that the end of the breath and before the next breath comes, it's not that that is the gap, but that is a natural place where you could be more likely to experience the gap. But it really is that the gap comes to you. So all you can really do is just, yeah, try to relax. It's not something you're creating. It's going to be there whether you see it or not. So you can develop a little bit of trust.
Now we have one from Isabel. How to understand aggression as clarity? Even if one kind of try to offer it, it's still aggression and can't seek clarity, even if it felt that expectations fall mixed with delusion.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the clarity aspect of aggression, if you're feeling aggressive, you definitely know. I mean, okay, hopefully you know that you're feeling aggressive. Like a lot of the time, actually, if we're walking around and we're being super aggressive, we don't even realize how aggressive we're being. That's not quite clarity. But if we realize, oh, I'm being really super speedy right now, or I'm pissed off, or I'm being really tight, then once you know, that's clarity. That's it. So actually the clarity, it's very basic. It's just knowing that you have aggression. So it's not so much calm down, it's more just like slow down. And you can keep on doing shamatha. It's gonna feel worse before it feels better, trust me. And it's not going to work as like a straight line.
Okay, we have a question from Gabriela. Is that the start fresh teaching, drop off and start again? I'm not sure what she's referring to.
Oh, fresh start? Yeah, fresh
Fresh
start
start.
means you just drop it. Yeah, so all of these basically, these are all techniques of letting go. And then letting go, the letting go.
And then I think the last one from Inez, if one is too tight, how can we achieve relaxation?
Okay, I just hope you're aware of the irony of asking about how to achieve relaxation. But honestly, exercise. Like if you're too tight, then not for everyone. And also relaxation, it's like you think about walking into a nicely air-conditioned room from the heat and you just go, or when you get home from work and you sit on the couch. It's just kind of like that. And then your ego is gonna come online and say, am I doing it right? Or like, you're wasting your time. So yeah, I mean the relaxation, it's not just flopping, it's a relaxation with clarity.
Thank you, Harry. So now we're going to start our celebratory part of the meeting. And I'm going to invite Ken to lead the party.
I just want to say I love you, Harry, and I'm so proud of you. And when you were, just as you were speaking, I was remembering when Trungpa Rinpoche died, when his Parinirvana occurred. And you were 8 or 9 months old, and we got on an airplane and flew up to Halifax to sit with his kudung, with his body. And that the thread has continued. And you are, I suppose, we're passing the buck onto your shoulders and other shoulders. So you could say I'm the dog and you're the pony, or suppose the old dog. But we have a series of offerings this morning to celebrate Trungpa Rinpoche, his parinirvana, his life, how he came to the West, came out of Tibet, and just opened so many doors for us with translations, with teaching us how to do sadhana practices in English and translations into other languages as well, so that we could study and understand. And just enable us to try at least to become good Buddhist practitioners, to become good human beings, to become warriors. You might see that I'm a little dressed up. I'm wearing my what was called armor back in the day, a tie, a jacket, a pin, just as an expression of being a warrior, to have a good heart and to accommodate everything. So I want to begin with a short quote. This is words spoken by Trungpa Rinpoche, and it's in the introduction to the first volume of the Profound Treasury. And he said, "You could become a very powerful, important implement in propagating the true Dharma. It could go beyond just me. You could continue to expand your vision after my death. What happens in the future completely depends on your intelligence and discipline and exertion. So you had better take more responsibility. You could reject it or throw it in the dust, but it is up to you to take responsibility for the presentation of the Dharma. You need to help future students, not only in this country, but in the rest of the world, including Tibet and India. By then, people there will have forgotten Dharma, so a fresh first generation of Dharma practitioners could come to India or Tibet. That would help a lot. Our vision is very extensive and large. Hopefully, you have actually managed to understand something. I'm not willing to give up on you." So with that, I'd like to introduce Jing Rui. And Jing Rui, who many of you may know already, is a close student of Dzongtsar Khyentse Rinpoche and has studied Trungpa Rinpoche for many, many years. And she is the executive director of 84,000, which is an initiative to translate 281,000 pages of the Buddhist canon, which is now celebrating its 15th anniversary. So, reading a poem, Jing Rui, please.
Hi, Jingwei. Maybe you can change your channel from Chinese to English. Or
If that doesn't work, just turn off the interpretation just temporarily.
okay.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello. Okay. Hi. So, thank you for the teaching, Harry. It's amazing. And thank you, Ken, for the kind introduction. This is a small offering that I was asked to make. So I wrote this poem inspired by the teachings we have received at this Datun program. I'll first read it in Chinese, then in English. Can I start reading it in Chinese?
Yes.
Does that? Okay, thank you. 这是因为他们让我就是供养，为这个创办人波切般若涅槃的纪念日做了供养。然后我想，我上这个大顿的课很受启发，然后我就尝试的写了一首诗。诗的题目就叫做入出入出入出，一呼一吸之间，一刹一那生灭，一起一落之际，一梦一醒瞬间，一叶菩提承载着岁月，飘落成一地的根深蒂固，一脉传承，穿越了千古，化成雪域高原祖师屁股上长的印茧。一句誓言回响于虚空，撑起蒲团上的坚持、放弃、再坚持。散乱与绝照，剪不断理还乱，屡战屡败，屡败屡战，不剪不乱，无战无败，再重来。一松一紧之际，自信光明一现，一迷一悟之间，辗转一回轮涅。入出入出入出。谢谢大家。
So that was a poem that I read, and it was written actually in Chinese, and I've attempted to translate it into English. The title is just called Sit. In, out, in, out, in, out. Between an exhale and an inhale, a moment of birth and death. Between a rise and a fall, an instant of dream and awakening. A leaf of Bodhi bearing the weight of months and years, falling gently into the earth, deeply and firmly rooted. A lineage unbroken, crossing 1,000 ages, upon the snow-capped mountains forming hard calluses grown on the master's buttocks. A vow echoing through space, holding up upon the cushion, persist, give up, persist again. Distraction and awareness, no matter how hard we try, we can't cut them apart and we can't untangle them. As we fight, we keep getting defeated, yet with every defeat, we keep on fighting. We leave them uncut and there is no tangle. We wage no war and there is no defeat. Now let's do it again. Between a release and a tension, a flash of luminous self-nature. Between a delusion and a realization, a long and winding round of samsara and nirvana. In, out, in, out, in, out. Thank you.
Thank you, Jungru. So beautiful. Now we have Arijit from our Indian Sangha.
Hello. So today I'll be reading a poem by Rabindranath Tagore. It's in Bengali, and then I have attempted to translate it into English, and that won't be as good. So this was written in Darjeeling on 24th of October 1931 on the occasion of the inauguration of the Mula Gandhakuti Vihara at Sarnath. This in itself was quite an important occasion because it sort of marked the culmination of the efforts and the life of Anagarika Dharmapala, who established the Mahabodhi Society, and it was his life's work to revive the Buddhist places of pilgrimage like Bodh Gaya, Sarnath in India, which had fallen into disrepair and neglect. So on that occasion, Tagore wrote this. It's called Buddha Debir Pruti, which means for the Lord Buddha. So first in Bengali. ওই নামে একদিন ধন্য হলো দেশে দেশান্তরে তব জন্মভূমি সেই নাম আরবার এই দেশের নগরে প্রান্তরে দান করো তুমি বোধি দ্রুমতলে তব সেদিনের মহাজাগরণ আবার সার্থক হোক মুক্ত হোক মোহ আবরণ বিস্মৃতির রাত্রি শেষে এ ভারতে তোমারে শরণ নবপ্রাতে উঠুক কুসুমী চিত্ত হেতা মৃতপ্রায় অমিতাভ তুমি তুমি অমিতায়ু আয়ু করো দান তোমার বোধন মন্ত্রে হেথাকার তন্দ্রালস বায়ু হোক প্রাণবান খুলে যাক রুদ্ধ দ্বার চৌদিকে ঘোষুক শঙ্খধ্বনি ভারত অঙ্গনতলে আজি তব নব আগমনী অমেয় প্রেমের বার্তা শতকণ্ঠে উঠুক নিঃশনি এনে দিক অজেয় আহ্বান And now in English. This land of your birth, renowned was it in your name once upon a time. Once more grant us the blessings of that name across the vastness of this land. that original great awakening under the Bodhi tree that day. May it burst forth again. May the bonds of illusion be freed. Beyond the dark night of forgetting, your remembrance may it bloom forth as a new dawn for this land of India. The mind is feeble here today. O Amitabha, you are unending life. Amitayush, grant us new life. Through your invocation mantra, India's sluggish air, may it be alive again. May our closed doors open, may auspicious conches sound. Today you return again to this land of yours. Your teachings of boundless love ring forth in 1,000 voices. They bring forth an eternal cry of victory. Thank you.
Thank you, Arijit. Now we're gonna invite Suruchi also from our India Sangha. Hi, Suruchi.
Hi, thank you. Thanks, Harry, for today. Amazing. I'm joining you from Mumbai, India. I'm an artist and a writer by profession and a cognitively based compassion training teacher. I'm also one of the administrators of Buddhapada Institute under Dzongsa Khyentse Rinpoche. Deeply influenced by Trungpa Rinpoche's Shambhala teachings and especially his relationship with the arts, I think of the creative practice either as a way of working with my own neuroses or as a direct path of perception and awakening. And maybe they're one and the same. So, in one such rare moment of insight, or you could call it the Buddha in my brain moment, I wrote this poem titled Maya that I'll be reading today, which made its way into my recent book titled Emptying the Void. And this will be followed by the video work titled Anatta, No I making I, no making mine, which in a way tries to capture the essence of the poem itself. And it's an attempt to experience the push and pull that happens in our minds. And perhaps also a glimpse into the possibility that when thoughts dissolve or self-liberate, it's like writing on water. So here's a small poem which carries a big revelation. Maya. What can I give up when everything is mine, except this body, this mind, this feeling, this house? This house that contains this body, this mind, this feeling. This feeling that contains this house, this body, this mind. So real, this dream within this dream, so dreamlike, this reality. And now, Ken, if I could request you to please play back the video.
Yes, I will do that.
Thanks, Carol.
Can you all see my screen? Yes.
Carol, the audio. If you could just take it back to the start, please. Yes.
Thank you so much, Suruchi. That's beautiful. We're now going to continue with Tashi. I will spotlight you in a minute. Okay.
That that video was like the line from Sadhana Mahamudra, the sweeps away all thoughts of possessiveness and self like a pile of dust. Lovely. I just have a couple of short quotes from other great masters and what they've said about Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche. So I thought since it's Trungpa Rinpoche's anniversary, we might reference some of those. So Punlap Rinpoche, a great Kagyu teacher, said this: I'm struck by the remarkable achievement of the Vidyadhara and his brilliant and masterful presentation of Buddha Dharma to the West. It was a fascinating and unique presentation of the Buddhist teachings that left none of the most essential pith instructions behind. That was Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche's idiosyncratic, groundbreaking kindness and genuine innovation. And from Dzongtsa Khyentse Rinpoche, whom I actually met at Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche's cremation in 1987. Dzongtsa Khyentse Rinpoche was 26 years old at the time. 3 years ago, Dzongtsa Khyentse Rinpoche, exactly 3 years ago, actually to the day, on Parinirvana Day, we were practicing the Sadhana Mahamudra. And as you recall from Barry's classes, the Sadhana Mahamudra joins the Mahamudra wisdom tradition from the Kagyu school and the Ati or Mahasandi tradition from the Nyingma school. And this is what Dzongtsa Khyentse Rinpoche said to us exactly 3 years ago on that day. If we could only begin to fathom the wisdom of Mahamudra and Mahasandi, you will realize how incredible and precious is this inheritance today. You will know that you must have done something right in all your previous lives just to have encountered the name Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche and his teachings. The amazing Takpo Kagyu and Longchenpa lineage forefathers and foremothers, may their force always be with you.
Thank you, Tashi. Now we're going to invite Pallavi to read a poem. Hi, Pallavi.
Hi, everyone. So thank you, Harry, again, of course, for a very brilliant and really insightful teaching today. And yeah, and thank you, Ken, for doing this entire, program to celebrate Rinpoche. So it was very difficult for me to choose something because everything about Rinpoche's works is so touching, and he's like a best friend talking to you. And he knows you exactly what you need and who you are. It's like he speaks to everybody, and he speaks to you alone also at the same time. So I've chosen a poem from this book called Shambhala, The Sacred Path of the Warrior. And this is one of my all favorites. Like everything is my favorite, but I chose this for the very situation that we're facing in this world right now. So I thought this was very relevant. From the great cosmic mirror, without beginning and without end, human society became manifest. At that time, liberation and confusion arose. When fear and doubt occurred towards the confidence which is primordially free, countless multitudes of cowards arose. When the confidence which is primordially free was followed and delighted in, countless multitudes of warriors arose. Those countless multitudes of cowards hid themselves in caves and jungles. They killed their brothers and sisters and ate their flesh. They followed the example of beasts. They provoked terror in each other. Thus, they took their own lives. They kindled a great fire of hatred. They constantly roiled the river of lust. They wallowed in the mud of laziness. The age of famine and plague arose. Of those who were dedicated to the primordial confidence, the many hosts of warriors, some went to highland mountains and erected beautiful castles of crystal. Some went to the lands of beautiful lakes and islands and erected lovely palaces. Some went to the pleasant plains and sowed fields of barley, rice, and wheat. They were always without quarrel, ever loving and very generous. Without encouragement, through their self existing inscrutability, they were always devoted to the imperial Rigden. So, the word meaning imperial Rigden, for some who may not know, it's a title for the enlightened rulers of the mythical kingdom of Shambhala, symbolizing ultimate wisdom, primordial warriorship, and the indestructible family of enlightened awareness. And that's not all. I have another one, which is, of course, a beautiful antidote, you may say, if you may say so. But I find it very beautiful, and it really helped me cope up with what's happening in the world and just kind of be aware and try my best to kind of incorporate this. That mind of fearfulness should be put in the cradle of loving kindness and suckled with the profound and brilliant milk of eternal doubtlessness. In the cool shade of fearlessness, fan it with the fan of joy and happiness. When it grows older, with various displays of phenomena, lead it to the self-existing playground. When it grows older still, in order to promote the primordial confidence, lead it to the archery range of the warriors. When it grows older still, to awaken primordial self-nature, let it see the society of men that possesses beauty and dignity. Then the fearful mind can change into the warrior's mind, and that eternally youthful confidence can expand into space without beginning or end. At that point, it sees the great eastern sun. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi. Now we're gonna have Ina read a poem.
Hi, everyone. So this is another poem from Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche, and I didn't know what to choose, but after Pallavi's, I think my choice is obvious, and this is the love poem, just to, have a change of a mood a little bit. So it's called Love's Fool. Love. What is love? What is love? Love is a fading memory. Love is piercingly present. Love is full of charm. Love is hideously in the way. Explosion of love makes you feel ecstatic. Explosion of love makes you feel suicidal. Love brings goodliness and godliness. Love brings celestial vision. Love creates the unity of heaven and earth. Love tears apart heaven and earth. Is love sympathy? Is love gentleness? Is love possessiveness? Is love sexuality? Is love friendship? Who knows? Maybe the rock knows, sitting diligently on earth, not flinching from the cold snowstorms and baking heat. Oh, rock, how much I love you. You're the only lovable one. Would you let me grow a little flower of love on you? If you don't mind, maybe I could grow a pine tree on you. If you're so generous, maybe I could build a house on you. If you are fantastically generous, maybe I could eat you up or move you into my landscape garden. It's nice to be friends with rock.
Thank you, Ina. That's beautiful. Now we're gonna have Leonor. I think she's here, but Leonor, I need you to open your camera. Leonor and Maga.
I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes, now I can see you.
Hi, Leonor either.
Yeah, okay, great. Maga is here too.
Leonor, can you turn on your video so we can spotlight? Or at least unmute yourself. Leonor, are you there?
Oh, there's, oh wait. You have a different name. Hi, is this Leonor? Oh, okay, because it says Marcela. Okay, just one moment. Now you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, I see. Este es un brindis al estilo como lo hacía Chögyam Trungpa, así que les pido que se pongan de pie.
This is a toast in the style that Chögyam Trungpa used to make, so I ask you to please stand up.
Y si tienen un vaso para tomar
And
algo,
if you have something to drink, ya, me voy a quedar sentada.
hoy día ha
Today,
sido un día glorioso,
it has been a very glorious day,
empezando por las enseñanzas que Harry nos dio.
to begin with the teachings that Harry gave us.
Trajo presente a Trumpa.
He brought Trungpa to our presence.
Y nos sigue acompañando.
And he's still here with us.
Y también la práctica de la sadhana
And also the practice of the sadhana
está y sigue abriendo camino y nos sigue mostrando cómo viajar.
and it's still the sadhana opening paths and still showing us how to continue the journey.
Maestro increíble,
Incredible teacher,
lleno de amor,
full of love.
Me quedo sin palabras.
I don't have words to express myself.
Solo decir que nos siga acompañando siempre. Salud por Chögyam Trungpa.
I just want to say, let him be here with us forever. On the name of Trungpa Rinpoche.
Salud.
Salud. Salud.
Salud.
Muchas gracias, Leonor, Maga. Thank you so much. It was beautiful. Thank you for the toast. So now we're actually we're gonna have maybe a second toast with Harry. Or
You are like the thickness in the atmosphere, the electric charge in the air right before a storm. You are vast as the sky, ornamented with clouds of rainbow light. Cheers to you, the Vidyadhara, the Druk-Sakyang, the Maki Rabjam, Chögyam Trungpa Rinpoche. Thank you for trapping us in your Vajra jaws. May you never let us go. Cheers.
thank you, Harry.
Thank you, everyone. This has been a wonderful celebration, and we're going to end with a short video of Trungpa Rinpoche giving a talk called Building Enlightened Society. It runs about 5 minutes. If you can stay, please do. It's quite wonderful. It's an opportunity. If you did bring food and drink, this is an opportunity to perhaps enjoy your feast food. And it was given in New York City in 1982. And I was not there. I was at seminary waiting for Trungpa Rinpoche to return to teach us, but my parents were there. So anyway, everything comes full circle. So please, Carol, if you could play the video.
But please, trying to do something about that. Your world needs your help very badly. Don't just gallivant into the woods and have a good time. That's not fair. And we have to do something about this world. We do have lots of gurus descending on us, and we do have all sorts of literatures coming through our mail, and we do have all sorts of alternative possibilities being presented to us, and the people are working very hard on those things, but nonetheless, we got to do something about it, actually, personally, physically. Writing letters, publishing books does not help necessarily, and people do need personal attention, and this world really badly needed, and particularly this time of age where the early spiritual rush has somewhat subsided, and new age hasn't quite come about yet. And the people are in limbo and busy raising their children or making friends with each other in a very vague way. So this time is a very important time for us to have some kind of action to do something about this world. And you can do it from Shambhala's point of view, or you can do it from your own point of view, even without coming to Shambhala training, as say, particularly. But please pay attention, and don't just abandon this world. This world does need your help so badly, very badly. And so on behalf of this world, I would like to request you to come and do something about it and join in. And all of you looks sane and feels sane, and all of you feel quite wholesome and capable, actually, and very decent. All of you look very decent, feels very decent. So let us do something about it. And if we could do something together, that's wonderful. And otherwise, you can go on with your own way and your own vision, which would have its own message will come to you. So please think about that when you go home, and tell your friends about that. And with that note, I would like to say, good night, and thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, everyone, for this wonderful celebration. And I know we've seen the sunrise and the sunset and everything in between being here this morning. And Trungpa Rinpoche's words, I think, are as relevant today as they were in 1982. And we have our work cut out for us, I suppose. But let's continue the journey next week. Judy Leaf will be teaching, and see you all again. We could end by dedicating the merit, and then if you know the warrior cry, Kiki So So, this is a traditional ending to many celebrations. Everyone can unmute, and we'll say the warrior's cry. So we'll dedicate merit. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may all. Kiki.
Kiki, so
So,
so.
so.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Kiki So So. Ashe. Lag Yellow.
So so.
So so, lag yellow.
Lag Yellow. Hey. Good morning, good night, good afternoon.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank
Everyone.
you. Noisy, Mary.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Kiki so so.
So so.